Right.
Dear God.
So this is a lot of firsts for me. It's my first app, my first Salesforce presentation, my first presenting with a single screen, trying to figure out how to work all that through Zoom. And so there's a lot of things that might not go as smoothly as I want to, but it'll be what it is. But I do want to thank everybody that's here, as Evan said earlier. And I also really would appreciate feedback from people in the room, feedback from people online, just what you liked, what you didn't like. And there's definitely going to be room for improvement. I'm 100% sure of that. But anyway, looking forward to present this today. Hopefully it helps you in some way. Definitely was a big deal for me at the time when I was coming up with this. Here's here. Yeah. All right, a little bit about me. All right, so before I was in the Salesforce, I was in the military. I was a musician in the Army. I was a part of a group called the Musical Ambassador of the Army, or the Army Field Band. The United States Army Field Band, our job was to go all over the United States and we would do concerts for people. It was a public relations job, very, very cool job. In that group, I was a bassoonist, which you don't see in either of these two pictures, but I wanted to highlight some of the really cool things I did. When I was in the unit, I performed in all 50 states, Canada, and Norway, and just got to get people excited about the Army. It was like a pep rally everywhere we went. It was unbelievably cool. So as a musician, I got my degrees in music first, and then I went right into a job in the Army out of grad school. And unlike a lot of the military bands, the Army Field Band is a permanent station job, which means you get to stay in one place for your entire career, which is really awesome. So this is me singing at a Boston Red Sox game, singing the national anthem on the 4th of July, which was unbelievably cool. And that was with a flyover. And if what thing I didn't know about when you sing with a flyover, they time your rehearsal. So they try to make it so that when you sing your last note, the plane is flying over right as you finish the last chord. And it's such a cool feeling. And then the other one is the inaugural parade. That was another cool thing. I marched sousaphone. I did that in high school and undergrad. And so it leaked that I had done that earlier. I was kind of keeping it on the DL, but they found out, and so therefore I became a marching musician as well in the field band. But that was a really cool job, extremely cold, but a really cool job as well. So this is my wife on one of her colorful days. This is the day I retired, and that's me playing the bassoon, and that's a sort of a glamour shot for a nonprofit that I formed called the National Chamberwinds. And we don't get together super often, but it's an amazing group, and it's mostly military musicians around the DC area get together and do our thing. Some more things about me. Obviously, I like carbs, as you can see from this photo. This is a couple of different baking experiments. For the artisan bread, it looks so much like the cover. I had to take a picture of the book and things side by side. My wife and I eat a lot of popcorn. We used to order like 50-pound bags and have that. That's my favorite beer. One of my favorites, Heady Topper. In Vermont, they know how to make beer. This beer is amazing. And then a little shot of my family. That's just my wife's side of the family. I'm the youngest of five, so my family's enormous. It would take like 6 slides to do my family. So that's just my wife's family, and this my father-in-law's 80th birthday. We went on a cruise, and that's just a shot of all of us together. All of the kids on the outside of that little pyramid are mine. So I have 4 kids. Alex in front there is deaf. So I'm learning ASL among other things right now. And it's almost March Madness time, and I love basketball, and I'm from Kentucky. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Just real quick, with the popcorn, that's because you like popcorn so much, or is there other uses for all that popcorn?
Yeah, so one, I like popcorn a lot. And by the way, Jabari, thank you for asking that question. And please keep the questions coming. It's way easier and better for me if I'm like responding to things rather than having to completely present. So I appreciate that. We do eat a lot of popcorn. I got a thing called a whirly pop, and we make it on the stove. And but if you order it in bulk like that, it's cheaper. Shipping is insane, but anyway, we get these 50-pound bags from Nebraska, and yeah, then you just put it in a big thing, and anyway, great questions.
That's cool.
So after I got out of the military, I got in a program called Hiring Our Heroes, and I went straight into a fellowship. Basically, you have to get your admin cert first, and then you submit your resume and some stuff about you. And if you're extremely fortunate, which I was, then you get in the program. And then you start fellowship, I did a 12-week fellowship, and then hopefully at the end of that fellowship, they hire you on. That's the hope. And that did happen for me. I was hired on as a contractor. Everyone in my particular job, in my particular company was hired on as a contractor. That's just the way they hire people. So I formed my own company, Bowlds Solutions LLC, and was hired on. That lasted 2 or so years where it was pretty full-time. Work was coming pretty regular and things got a little rough in the market for a while, as we all know. So I diversified. I reached out to some friends in the DC area. They recommended a couple people to me. I got hired on by 2 other companies. So at one point I was working for 3 different consultancies all at once. That was a lot. But then all of that started to dry out as well. So 2025 was, towards the end of the year, I was thinking, okay, you've gotta start to, the hours got less and less, and I started getting a little bit down, and so I needed to come up with some things to kind of get me right again. And these are just some of the things that helped me at the time. I focused more on faith, family, and friends. Salesforce community, unbelievable community. Just I had been going to the Columbia chapter community since COVID, since before I was even working at Salesforce. When I thought I might want to. But then I joined the DC chapter and the Baltimore chapter as well. Started attending Dreaming events. The Dreaming events are, if you haven't been to one, I would recommend that. It's for me, it's the right level, right size where you can still learn stuff. You hang around, you talk to people. It was great. All the usual health things: eat well, sleep well, get outside. They tell you. Number 3, I was deciding whether or not to put it up there, and I thought it's silly not to put it up there. We talk so openly about getting physical checkups. I don't know why mental and emotional checkups aren't normalized. So let's put it there. It's important. There is something. It's been helped me as well. The next 3 or 4 are all kind of tied into the background of the theme tracker itself and why we're here. Why we're here is because I haven't asked me to be here, but for me, when I couldn't control some of the things that were happening in my position, I thought, well, why don't I just work on upskilling? So I got 3 certifications in 2025. But there's no real substitute for like using those technical skills. And I would trade like a really good job where you're using the stuff over 1 million certifications. So, but for me, it did help me to kind of like see some progress and see some things moving forward. As number 6 said, do some stuff and then like celebrate what you're already doing. And that was for me what I needed to do. First focus on what I'm doing every day. And so I was writing down all these little things on paper, like, okay, you're doing this and this and this. And I was like, wait, work in IT. So stop using paper. Let's get this down to an app. Let's learn, let's make it more so I can track it. I can see it in different ways. I can, and I realized that just doing that, just going through that exercise of, okay, these are the things I'm already doing. That helped me. And so whether habits come before goals or goals come before habits, it varies, but and that's kind of partly what I was thinking about as well as I'm building this. And also, back in the day, I read this book. This is not an advertisement. I'm not telling you guys to go out and buy this book, but it helped me think about a little bit about what are some of the good habit forming principles. I read this Atomic Habits book years ago. You're supposed to make it those things for habits to be. You're more likely to be successful in a habit if you're doing some of those things. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. And so for me, there were a couple things around that building itself that I kind of was thinking about that. You can read some of it, but ultimately, I think the biggest thing for me is making it easy to track right at the very beginning. That was the very first thing I thought, okay, let's just figure out a quick way. And when I built the app, I built it in phases where I wanted to at first just figure out how can I quickly get some data. Let's like just start marking points of let's get all these things in there. So that's phase 1. So the first thing I did was build a thing object. And as soon as possible, I'm going to cut to Salesforce because this is the one environment where I'm at home. I cannot talk about technical things with my wife very much. She does not appreciate it. I mean, I can kind of go a little bit into it, but it's like, well, after a little while. So it's nice that I can actually show you guys what I built. You might say, wow, that looks cool. Or that could be better or whatever. Either way, it's nice to be able to do some of that. So we're gonna hopefully do this right. Yes. Okay, so very simple. This is the home page and it's very simple. This is the thing input. This is a screen flow that's always open on the main page. And it looks like this. So if there's a current thing happening, then it'll go down one path. If there's a thing already happening, I mean, if you're putting a new one in, it creates a new one. And it says a different thing here for the subflow, but it's the same subflow. It goes to the same one, and the subflow knows, okay, if you're doing it and you come here, you want to end it, then you do this, and you go here. I'll show you some ways to show you. Okay, so right now, what I'm doing is presentation. Okay, so create a thing. That's it. So one of the things I wanted right out of the gate, you'll see you need to stop presentation before starting new things if multitasking is a lie. So I made a little note to myself to know that like if you're doing something, do that thing, do it all the way, you're all in, you're not doing something else, you're not doing things concurrently. Right now, we're doing the presentation, and that's all that we're doing, you know, and that was something, and if you forget, so one of the things. Okay, so that's the easy input part. Okay, easy input, desktop mobile, we'll get to in a second. It's capturing the thing name. Okay, I wrote a presentation. It's not a presentation. Right now, as I'm talking, it's running. There's a start time that already happened. Whenever I stop, it'll figure out the difference and give you that total amount of time spent on that activity. One thing at a time, I talked about that, and then the summary is an editable to that. Editable's good. Okay, so okay. So we're gonna pretend. Here's my presentation. Oh, the presentation is 1 minute. Okay. Now, let's say you finish your whole day, you've done this and it's not just. Maybe you forgot to track stuff, or maybe you have other stuff that you didn't track in real time, but you want to track anyway. So you can go back in, you can always just start and stop things willy-nilly and then edit them in this case. So I'm actually going to present today so we're going to pretend like it's already happened. Okay. Perfect. This. Okay. So, that's a quick and easy way to get in your data. And right now I'm just using that, as a simple data collection. And I've done it that way. For me, it was enough, honestly, at the beginning to go back and see, okay, what are the things you've done this month? What are the things you've done today? What are the things you've done over time? And for a while, that was, in fact, as long as I really needed it, that was almost everything I needed to do. Until at some point I decided, okay, that's all like a reactive kind of approach to things. What if you want to set some goals for yourself and then have those things that you've already done apply to a goal? And you can either do that as it's happening. You can set a goal if you're in the middle of the month. You can do it, or you can do it in retrospect. So let's switch back to here. Okay, so let's say. Well, please. Oh, I guess I can quickly show you.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's a lot going back here, and I kind of missed the part of what you said, but for the automation portion of it, what was that showing?
What was the automation?
Yeah, what was it? Well, I guess you have it up right now. I don't know if you got to it already, but what was the automation portion showing?
Sure. So that's just showing how the screen, but it's on the main page, which is really simple. Okay, there we go. This thing name you're seeing here is literally just an embedded screen flow.
Okay.
So like that. Oh, I'm sorry. Please. Real quick, something I want to talk about while I have this open is I built one page, which was one page would cover both mobile and desktop situations, and I just factored filtered out different things for different form factors. So you see on all those little orange bubbles are saying that when you're on when you're not on the phone, it'll show these, and then for the phone, I was thinking really straight down the line, the way a person sees it, so I put all these things on the right are all mobile form factors. So I go phone, this is right here, equals phone, equals phone, equals phone, equals phone. So on one page, you can just set all your form factors so it looks the way you want it to on the phone. And let me see if I can figure out how to stop sharing here. Perfect. Alright, so we can zoom on mobile here. Okay, so same thing. I'm just about to go for a walk. Same thing. Just right here. As soon as you open it up, it's right there. Create a new thing. The walk is going. Yeah. Okay. Same message. I'm in the middle of walking. If later I forget, I come home. And hours later, like. Yeah, exactly. And later I forget, oh no, I forgot to stop this, then I can stop it, edit whatever I've got to whatever the time actually happened. It doesn't matter. For me, it's just like creating a data point. Obviously, it's nicer if you can always remember to start and stop things when you're in the middle of them, but just not realistic. So you can always go back and sort of redesign your day too. But again, for me, I want it to be quick, easy. I'm not thinking a lot. One thing that's important, and I'll mention this, I forgot to, that the name you put for the thing is important. Because later, well, next, we're gonna go to goals, and the way I had it working for goals is when you create a goal, it's gonna look for whatever keywords you put for the goal. You can put up to 3 keywords on the goal, and it'll look for things that have that name in their title. So if I walked, it'll look for a walk. If I want to do all kinds of exercise, I can set a goal and write walk, swim, run on the keywords for the goal, and then it'll go look for all the things that have that in their name. So just as long as you're naming it with that in mind, knowing that it may someday be part of a goal. When I was building this, it occurred to me that I wanted to be able to have a goal that could have multiple things to it, but have things apply to multiple goals as well. So that's where the building, that's where I had to think, okay, what's this object relationship where I need to have lots of goal things. And that's where the habit I need to put up to that.
So, I have so your screen flow checks to see if there's like an active thing happening, and then if there is, it says you can't add a new thing right now.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's just a screen. I can show you that.
Yeah.
Stop sharing here, back over to it.
Did you think about if there is an active thing, like just bringing it up so they could complete it from there, like mark it as done?
So they can complete it from right
Oh,
here.
okay, I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, my bad.
It's
I
fine.
thought I saw you go like the related list or something. Sorry.
All good. Sharing. Sharing. Spinning. Okay, perfect. Oh, go back. Great. Found out it's page. But yeah, so no worries. Well, so it should. Let's stop it. We'll press the screen real quick. Right. Gotcha. I got that 0 minute off here. So yeah, so later I want to go back and make this whatever. That pretty easily. Okay, so I'll send them on 36 minutes. So you have to be honest with yourself. I did not walk 36 minutes, so later I'm gonna do this, but you get the idea. So to your question, so as soon as I type whatever. See, I'm gonna walk on lead right now, but that's okay. So it'll say that right here. It's happening. And
Oh,
it
okay.
will not let me. Yeah.
I didn't see that button.
All right. Okay. What do we got? Okay, next thing, goals. So let's say I have a goal. Okay, so this is a simple screen flow that I put on the goal object. In general, I'm not a huge fan of the new button in Salesforce. Often I'm replacing the new button with a screen flow that has a new record, although now I know you can filter out. There's ways to filter out things around the screen that they only show when it's a new record and do that as well. But in general, I want to control what people are able to do when they first create a new record. And so this is one way of doing it. So my goal is to say, I don't know. Sorry, it's hard to type with only one hand or 1.5 hands. All right, this is not a repeat goal. Okay, so unlike the thing object, which is I want it to be quick, not a lot of thought. Let's just go, let's get the data. When you create a goal, it needs to be a little more thoughtful. So there's more fields and there's more involved in that, and there's more significantly more involved in the automations around that. So the goal duration right now, I just have it as weekly or monthly as options. So let's say I'm gonna work on presentation weekly. I'm gonna start. Let's start last week and work today. Perfect, because the presentation is today. That checks. So this one you can be either time-based. You can have a time-based goal or X number of days a month. In this particular case, I want to do time-based. So let's say that I'll work on this presentation for. One of the things I was thinking about when I was building this is what is the metric that we're going to be tracking the most? So it's the hours, minutes, days, whatever. Minutes seem like a good. There's a lot of things that you only do for a certain number of minutes a day. We'll have a roll up that does hours as well on the goal, but for now, minutes seem like a good metric. So I'm doing that kind of throughout. Yes, it could be slicker, but for now, that's what we got. All right, so then the keywords I'm going to look for are maybe presentation in the title, and then let's say slide, like work on a slide deck if I have to write that. Whatever. Okay, so let's create the goal. This. Okay, so now what should have happened? Okay, great. So it grabbed all the habits that applied toward this goal. Habit being, sorry, I grabbed all the things. I'll show you a little bit of these real quick. A thing has a goal and it has, I'm sorry, a habit has a goal and a thing. You can play a drinking game with the number of times to say thing today, probably. But anyway, there's a certain number of goals and a certain number of things that make up the habit. So there you go. And it shows this particular habit as a 75-minute thing that I tracked earlier in the week. Some of this is actually all of this data is real, but there's some things I did for presentation. So, okay. So that goal has all of these things that rolled up in it. We're going to talk about how I did that in a second when I go through the problems I solved. But how are we on time? Actually,
We got 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Time stands still when you're over here, so I'm going to okay. I have to go. Okay. So it's going to look for everything within the start date and end date period. So when I was putting those things in, when I put in my dates, that's a very important thing to do. I'm sure you want part of that. That's pretty cool too. All right, we'll get back to that in a second. So I've 433 minutes for the goal on 47 minutes to complete the goal. So close. If you count the time I'm talking, and then it'll be right there. All right, so that's kind of how that works. Any questions about the goal thing? I'm going to pop back to something else about that. But basically, it goes and grabs all the things. It auto associates them. And you can do it either way. Like when you create a goal, it's going to look for the things that are already created. Everything that I create going forward, it'll try to find all the goals that it might apply to. It might be more than one. If you have a weekly goal of running every day, if you have a weekly goal of running, I don't know, 200 minutes, but you want to run every day, then that's two separate goals, but the same thing might apply to both of those types of goals. So one other thing I want to show you. This was a fun build. I'm not gonna lie. I had a good time and I kept adding things. This repeat goal, what happens here is whenever you click the repeat goal at the end of every night, at midnight, it's going to look for any goal that ended yesterday and then it'll repeat it for whatever period of time. And for whatever metrics you had for it, it'll just auto repeat it, as long as you have that button. And it'll also auto click the repeat goal button. So it'll keep doing that, like if you have a monthly goal, every month it'll keep doing it. If your goal is monthly goal, say I started it. Also, these goals don't have to be, you don't have to think about it ahead of time. At the moment that you create it, it'll go back and look for everything that already applied to it. So as long as you have data over a long course of time, let's say you go back and like, I wonder what I did in November, and you can look at it and say, hey, if I wanted to have done this in November, did it happen? And it will like grab all the things that are already created. So it's kind of fun. If it's a frequency, meaning X number of days a month, if you click this daily goal button, it knows how many days are in the period that you're talking about. So if I click it right now, it knows it's 31 days. If I actually started on the 15th, move to 17 days, whatever, you can mess around with that. I kind of played with making that all as easy as possible. Monthly goals for now, I had to make some arbitrary decisions. Monthly goals are always going to be from the start date to the end of the month period. It's not going to overlap months. Weekly goals will just be 7 days hard. Yeah, and then again, the keywords are important. So let's look under the hood just for a second, just like that. Start in current thing. Yeah. Okay. So when you're creating a goal, got this goal input screen. One thing that's interesting is this is also on mobile, and I don't know if you noticed while I was doing that, I was creating a goal over here on the right. It says actual goal name will display as okay, things through January 31st. So that'll change as this changes. I change to weekly goal. So one of the things that I noticed is when you have a name that I'm going to repeat. So if this is a monthly goal, it would say things through the 31st, but next month I'm going to need to say things through the 28th of February or whatever the date is, and it's going to need to be smart. So, but also I had to make a decision on whether I wanted it to strip off the end of the name using some kind of formula, or just grab the raw data and add on the new date part, meaning that whatever the person, so this here is this here is what they're going to put in. This is the raw goal name. And I capture that, but I also capture this, which is calculated with the text template. Let's use like TT for that sort of stuff. But so I wanted to it became important to me later to capture both the goal raw name, which is what a person enters in that box, and what the actual goal name is calculated to by that text template here. So, and that made it just easier if both of those live on the record, so that when you're recreating these, you can just pull the raw name and we're all set.
Hey, Dan, we had a question online.
Yeah.
Lisa was confused about the difference between a thing and a habit in the data model.
Me too.
Do you have that pulled up?
Yeah, so let's go back to the goals. So a thing is just anything that you're doing. This was me being sort of arbitrary with names. I wasn't feeling super creative, but I was like doing things. I'm like, I wonder what things I'm doing. I'm like, well, I'm just call a thing tracker, track all the things. Again, good drinking game right now. But a habit, once you start doing, I decided in building this, that a goal is something that you're setting long-term. A habit is a series of things that you're doing that apply toward a goal. And so that's kind of how I built it. So in this particular case, you have a thing object over here. Can't see me here. Can they see me online? Okay. You have a thing object over here. You have a goal object over here, and you have the habit object in between the two.
It's a junction.
Yes, a junction object. Thank you. There's Salesforce name for that. So these are both master detail objects connected to that. So that's where it's a junction. But anyway. Yeah. All right. What else? Okay. For me, so we got Oh, there we go. That's what I'm going with the repeatable. All right. I covered a lot of that. Automations. So. Here. All right. Rules. Did I answer your question? Is she good on okay. Okay. So for me, again, seeing these roll-ups was great. It helped me look back and say, awesome, solid work, carry on. And so then somebody had hit me today, probably should have hit me a lot sooner, but hit me this morning. Is that some of the stuff that I'm doing, like I was tracking billable work. I thought, okay, wait, you're already kind of tracking billable work, so maybe what if you were more specific? So this is a thing. So what if I want to, instead of tracking billable work, I change billable work to client. And I described actually what I did. Right. Okay, and then I save it. I realized that effectively I've already got a way of tracking, because so what I have every month I have to submit what I've done for which clients and for how long, and actually a list of those specific activities are kind of cool. So uh, this app, this I wanted to report that we're here today, so bear with me.
And cool. I'll meet you back here.
Yep.
And there's gonna be a meeting.
Okay, so I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could, at the end of the month, see what I actually did and just submit a report of the work I've done? And just track it as I'm going, if I'm gonna be tracking things anyway, so. I know I built a report, but I'm gonna do another right now. Okay, so. Good. Let's see it. Perfect. All right. So then at the end of the month, you could just have a whole bunch of things. You could actually have it listed by client, which I do group it by client, and then have it by day, the day we did it, so. That works. This makes name. Okay, so then at the end of the month, you could have a roll up of everything we've done, what's actually built in as well, and I'm this as well. Sorry.
Again.
Okay, so it could look like something like this as well, and that would give you can have something you can just grab and submit. All right. So the other side, really quickly, if you're interested. When I was building this, one of the things I was trying to think about is I kept trying to figure out where the easy button was, and sometimes that meant walking away from what I was doing. And in fact, your most creative moments almost never happen when you're like this at the screen, for me at least. So washing dishes or walking around and doing anything other than staring at my screen is doing them at my very best. And so in this particular case, I was like, okay. At first I was like, well, let's use some Apex. So I built this Apex thing that could pull out the keywords for things and define things that are comma separated. And then I got, or You can make 3 separate fields and just have it put in the keywords and then have it select on that. So there's all kinds of moments like that when you're building stuff. It's like, all right, yes, you can build things that are slick, but you can also build things that are like immediately functional. Like, so what's the MVP version of what you're building? And so I did MVP myself a few times, and this was classic situation here where I was like, what's the coolest way to build this? And that wasn't the easiest way to build it. So in this case, very simple keywords. One, because I thought, how could someone, even though it's me doing the inputting right now, how could someone break this? And I thought, well, what if you only put in keyword 1, but not keyword 2? Or what if you put in 1 and 3? Okay, we'll just build it for all of those and don't spend a lot of time on this. So learned a lot in that process. It's good for my brain to kind of go through some of those little mental gymnastics. Again, I think one of the takeaways for me is I'm a builder. I like to build stuff. And when I was feeling down, I wasn't doing any building. And so this app was a way for me to kind of like, I hate this expression, but it's a way for me to kind of bootstrap myself. And it helped. And I think if you're out there and you're like you're not feeling good about the amount of work you're doing, then find a way to do some work that's meaningful to you anyway. It can be anything that you like to do. This is something that I was doing at the time anyway, and I just turned it into an app for enjoyment and hopefully has some long-term effects as well. One of the things I'm going to do either now or as soon as I hang up here is make a goal for myself. I had like Mike that's here in the room, I had a long-term running thing that I was doing. I had like a 46-day running streak, but I was feeling pretty good about that. He's 2000 is his record, so I'm nowhere near that, but 2000 plus. But I had an injury and now I gotta get started again. And so for me, if I get it down on paper, I think that'll, like in this case, digital paper, that'll get me going again. So
How long did it take you to put together the V1 of the app?
it's a good question. V1 including all the goals and other stuff, because just the thing part was not extremely time consuming. But yeah, I don't want to talk about this. No, the other parts to it, probably the automations took 20-30 hours, I'm guessing. Because one of the other things, the nightly check, just thinking through some of that stuff. I want to actually talk through how are we doing on time, Evan? We got
15 minutes.
15 minutes, perfect. But it did take a while to answer your question, Mike. It did take a good amount of time, but it was a labor of love. Honestly, the time went by fast.
Yeah.
And when you're doing stuff you enjoy, it doesn't like have to remember to stop.
Flies by, yeah.
Yeah, like starting can be hard, but the stopping is also hard when you're in the middle of stuff. So number one, there's no like time differential when you're taking one piece of time from another. You're gonna get a number, they're not minutes. You can't just subtract time from time and get minutes. And at least I don't think. I mean, you get a number and you're calling that minutes, but it's a number. Stuff like that, and so then you're rebuilding how time stuff works. The formula field thing is it's not a big challenge, not a big issue, but it's just something that I noticed at the very beginning. Like, I guess I need to do this, and so I did. And then you can either round it up, round it down, or go to the nearest number, and that's what those formulas options. Again, that's not a big, but it was something at the beginning I had to get through. Different layouts for the mobile app. I showed you that earlier. Just using a single page and form filtering it was good for me. It gave you, it does the job. And there's plenty of work I still have to do. To answer your question again, Mike. I mean, I could spin out, I could prove it forever.
Sure.
And it's kind of fun. So, this was an interesting one. I didn't talk about this, but I will. So, in order to grab a piece of information over on one object and pull it over to the other, it's not a direct roll up. So I had to use DLRSs to do that. Declarative lookup, roll up summaries. A lot of words. But and that's a way to grab pieces of information that aren't straight in line from each other, that you can't just do a standard roll up for. The reason why I didn't want to build things a certain way is is I want you to be able to delete a goal freely without having to worry about deleting any of the data. So if you have it as a child, then as soon as you, this also sounds bad, but as soon as you kill the parent, then the child dies. And so I didn't like that. I didn't like that. So
like that.
yeah, it did not gel with me as a kid. As a parent, I didn't love that. So I wanted my thing to live over here where it was safe. And so, yeah. So I'll get to the next one was too. One of the things that I noticed is, so when you create a goal, there's two different things happen. So let's see. Right. This one's not bad. If you do a straight number roll up, that's not that big of a deal. But another decision point I had is if you want to do something for a certain number of times in a month, I decided that it has to be on a different day. You can't run 42 times on Saturday and none for the rest of the month. That doesn't count. So I just made that decision. So that means that everything that is applying towards a goal needs to have a unique day. And when you're rolling up unique days, I don't think there was a way to have it pick unique days from Evan might correct me on this after we're done here, but I could not figure out a way to capture unique days in DLRSs. So what I did was I turned days into text fields. So I took the date and made that its own text field, and then it did recognize unique text fields. So that was like a little hack. That I just, so yeah, and that's a simple formula, very simple. YouTube, you just. I just screen it's nowhere. I get this
Drag it around.
There we go. I think that is maybe this guy. Yes, right. And now we're talking about goals. Yes. No. Habits, there we go. You have a habit date and a habit day. The habit day is literally just a text version of the date. And once you do that, then it can find a unique count of the dates in a DLRS. So that was a good one for me. I don't know if that's, unique information, but solved the problem.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's with DLRS?
Yeah,
Yeah, what's that?
yeah, not gonna say it 3 times fast, but it is declarative, lookup, roll up, summary. So it's a package.
Okay,
Should start with that. It's a package that you download. And you can set whether or not this package, there's a good Salesforce Ben article on this if you want to check out that.
Okay.
But check that out. But you can do the calculation mode in real time, or you can have it run every night. I did real time for this because I wanted to know, I want to know immediately how much, like when I did the goal presentation thing earlier. I wanted to show immediately how much is popping in, and it does that, and we create things automatically, auto go to the. And that's a cool way to grab a number over here, bring it over here, and have it tally it up. If it isn't directly in front of you. I'm not describing this perfectly, actually, maybe it'll be better. Okay, where are we? Thank you. Yep. Got that, naming convention, goals, yeah, that's what I was talking about having a raw name versus, the name that it ends up creating. Daily goal option, that was fun to build, and that was another situation where like. I was trying to figure out, okay, well, if I want to calculate how many days are in February, it needs to be all this, it actually doesn't need to be that complicated because I already had something that was doing a start date automatically and already had something that was doing an end date automatically. So if you already have those 2 data points, then knowing how many days there are, all you need to do is know how many days there are between the start date and end date, and then add 1. And that gives you the total number of days. So like there's stuff like that I kept, so like this is another washing dishes kind of situation, like just walk away, okay, this cannot be as hard to make it right now. And I can't tell you the number of times I've had to like remind myself that it just shouldn't be this hard, and usually if you think it shouldn't be that hard, it's probably not. So, and I did use, there were a fair number of times where I'll do a quick chat GPT. I'm not scared to just type in something like, hey, what's the quickest way to break values separated by a semicolon into separate lines on, on Excel, and it'll show you, how to do that quickly, and it's a huge time saver for stuff like that. So, and I did try some of those in these situations. Anyway, oh, this is the last thing now. So classic, whenever you're doing a demonstration for somebody first time, and this wasn't my first time, thanks to Evan for doing this, and thanks to my friend Megan who let me try it out with her today. Be brief. And you just get a run of this. But when I was doing it for Evan, I had an error, like of course the flow error when I was doing it for Evan. I said, oh, this is great. So I learned something which I'm going to share with you, which maybe you already know, but me, it was cool to learn something new. Not maybe in the way I learned it, but it was still cool. All right, so when you have a conditional visibility, in other words, if you have a screen flow where you want to have something hidden some of the time. And sometimes it shows, some of it doesn't. If you have a checkbox that's hidden, for example, like in this particular case, this is two checkboxes. One is hidden, one is not. So right now it shows that the second checkbox is false. And here it's showing that the second checkbox is true, right? If I hide that checkbox, it's gone. The value for that second checkbox is not false or true like you had it, it's null. So once you have a conditionally visible field, the value goes away to null. So there it is again, it's true, it's false. Okay, so that's the problem, the fix. Okay. Screen. Okay, actually, let me show you that first. Okay, the way you do that, we're going to create a formula. And that formula, let's expand this a bit. Oh, that's actually, okay, if that checkbox is true, great, it's true. We know it's true. If it's nothing, then it's false. And that covers your problem, because then we're going to make it so that checkbox always has a value and it can't be null. And the reason why that was a problem is when I got to the end of that flow that had the checkbox and it was conditionally visible, I was showing Evan like, oh, look, you can open and close these things. I was checking things and showing stuff, and then I put it away. And then when I got to the bottom, it tried to create a record and it failed because there was no value, it was a null value for a checkbox. So the way you saw that is you create a formula and substitute that for the checkbox on the assignment. And then that field will show up with a value, your unique value. So let's cancel this, go to our screen. We'll take this second value and put this guy out. So this is this way, right formula. Let's see the checkbox formula. And so I'll save. All right, now we're gonna try to do it again. All right, and this time it says false, false, and it's already hidden. It's false. It knows it's false already. True. If I hide it again, it still shows false. So if it's gone, at least you're gonna get false every time. If you want it to be true, it needs to be. All right. So that was a big one for me, and that will save you, hopefully save somebody out there some issues later when they're wondering why something's failing. All right, I think. Yeah, any questions?
Is this the first time you built an app?
Yes, it's my first app.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
So since it is your first time, apart from ChatGPT, did you utilize any other resources that would help you build this app?
Good question. Not really. I mean, I had an idea for what I wanted to build, and I've been working in Salesforce, so I had some ideas, on a lot of things. There were a few things related to. I wanted the app to be the default app, something like that. A few little things I had to like. I wanted on mobile in particular. I want to open and only see that. It's not clutter of the world. Just you can't hide the new button on mobile. That's something I learned also. I wanted to be able to hide the new button. You can't. All kinds of things I learned, and for me, that's what it's really about. It's just like taking in all this new information, and I was working on my architect, my shared visibility certification at the time too. So learning about how I'm going to see things was kind of, it's all kind of symbiotic, maybe if that's the word I want to use, but anyway, it was helpful for me to do it all at the same time.
What was the hardest part
The hardest part.
of the whole thing?
Uh, by far, the hardest part is when I got stuck and refused to go away from my computer. I need a prod or something in those moments, because I just like, I have to solve this now. And you do not have to solve it right then.
Yeah.
It's better if you don't. So that was by
Walk
far
away,
the hardest
yeah.
thing. Yeah, just walk away.
Do you are you thinking about making this available to others to use, or is it just a you thing, or?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Evan and I talked about the ideas, the two different ideas of me, presenting it, but also doing, build it, help other people build it, or I could also package it up. I did say to him right before this, I want to figure out how to pack. I made the mistake, many mistakes, but I made the mistake of doing this in a sandbox rather than a developer, or just because I already had a sandbox and I was goofing around anyway, and then got more and more serious and I was too far in. But I want to move this to a dev org anyway, so learning how to package stuff, and that might be a good next step for me. But yeah, I mean, if you think it's useful, then I definitely want to hear it, because
I think it's
thank you. Yeah, but I mean, that would be great for me to have some other people get something out of something I built to be cool to get. But anyway, awesome.
I just want to say, the app looked great. I really like how you use the, what's that, homepage lightning page, or however they call it. Like, you get a lot of flexibility with the homepage, lightning page, and I like how you had the list view in there alongside the screen flow, and
Yeah,
so I don't see that often, but I really like how you did that.
nice. Yeah, no, I easy input. That's my whole.
Uh,
I will say something I thought about doing, which I didn't do, is you can take like a rich text field. Put that on your homepage and then embed like a link to your dashboard right there. So you can have people have a quick click to a dashboard. If you want to do that, I've seen people do it for clients. I actually really like that.
Yeah.
Quickly go somewhere that people are always using it, rather than making, it's fewer clicks. But they click on the dashboard, find the dashboard they always use or whatever. If you just put one link right on the homepage, click over there.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering, have you considered adding like as you was going along, I thought it'd be cool if you had a notification or an email alert that gets sent out like as you're going along with their goal, like
I did, yeah, that was on my, I love that.
version 2.
Yeah, maybe version 17 or whatever.
Is that-
But yeah, just having or when you complete your goal.
Yeah.
That would be especially like a little, something, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome.
I think this is fantastic. I mean, something that I've said to people a lot of times when they're learning Salesforce or they're learning to build apps in particular is a lot of people just like wait till like they have a job or something and then they want to build it. But something that I think admins often are disconnected from is the using it, the actual using of the app versus the building of the app. There's no real easy way to replicate what you're going to learn by using it, right? So I definitely have advocated for a long time build an app. What I love about your idea, it's even better than any ones I've come up with, is that it's sort of agnostic, that it can track whatever you want. I've talked to people where they build. I worked with someone that had an app to track their plants that they keep track of, or people do it to keep track of cars that they like, or movies they see, or bands they see, or music collections, or whatever. But build something that you're going to use, whatever it is, because then you get the experience of being a user of the app, which really makes you as a designer and builder of the app that much better, because you're going to see the frustration points of what it doesn't do that you wish it did do, how you can make it better.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Yeah, no, I know myself well enough to know that my original idea was like, let's add some pick list fields where you have to decide stuff out front. I'm like, no, you're not gonna do that. So what do you really feel like doing? It's like, well, just like, how quickly can I do this? Type in something, and you can always change it later. I can edit the name later. But just get it in there, get credit, for lack of a better word, for what you've already done. So, yeah, thank you.
I mean, and that also like helps you do the whole MVP that you mentioned, right? It's like what makes it viable? What are the minimum things that you need to pull off what you want? And then you can iterate over time, the whole agile methodology. And that's
Yeah.
it's sort of exactly the way I coach customers when I work with their apps to build their apps is let's think about that, get their feedback. But oftentimes when we build for our clients, we don't process grants or we don't do sales for them or we don't do whatever it is they're tracking. So it's harder to put yourself in that mindset. So definitely
Yeah.
using it is important.
Yeah, that was one cool thing is that I was both the client and the
Yeah.
builder, so I could
Right.
do a little check myself or whatever. What I would probably recommend, one thing I would have done differently, this is kind of to your question almost. I think I should have spent a little more time in sort of, I should have made myself be a PA, maybe. I just did a little more requirements gathering, a little bit more at the beginning. Maybe written down some fields that I want to build, what they might do, because Goal went through quite a bit of changes and stuff like that. That gives you don't need that, or this is, and I think if I had just done a little bit of that before I even started building, I know that's what you're supposed to do. Also, I want to apologize to any Flow purists out there. You didn't see any descriptions for a error. Yeah, there were a couple of things that I didn't handle errors very well. So I'm sorry about that, but it's for me. So, but yeah, I think that just more systematic would have been probably good, but I just wanted to do something. All right.
Got a couple, yeah, we got a couple comments from online. Daria says, thank you for this presentation, Dan. It gives me ideas to track my personal goals and habits and everyday activities that affect achieving my goals. I was feeling a little bit stuck recently. We'll be troubleshooting it with my tracker app. And Stacy says, I can see a lot of applications for this app in my professional and personal life. Thank you for sharing with us. Also, Lisa says, Dan, I love so much about this, both your motivation to do it and what you've accomplished. Well done. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Dan.
Anybody else online have any questions? You can come off mute.
Really fantastic, like you have done this job. So I recently completed my master's. Yeah, oh, sorry. I recently completed my master's and then I started like in the Salesforce admin. I have Salesforce admin certifications as well. So I started building one layout. It's like the system records layout that like I have built 36 objects in it. I just wanted to ask you, like, if I build or develop an app with that, like if it's useful, it's easy to like to get into a market, like other apps. I just want
to market your app.
Salesforce, yeah.
You're building it. I don't know. The question in here was, is it easy to, when you build an app to market it?
Yeah.
That's not my area of expertise. Admittedly, I don't know how easy it would be to market. I wasn't really thinking about marketing or selling it when I built it. Full disclosure, which was entirely for, yeah, entirely. Yeah. I hope that, I mean, I could imagine it providing usefulness to somebody else someday, certainly for free. I don't make any money, yeah, but it would be, anyway. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if anybody in here or. But
If you want on the app exchange, which is like the public marketplace, there's a lot of security you have to go back and forth through. But you can just package it and like put it on your personal website and share it with people, which I've done that too. It's fun and like it is like a good like personal development project.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can build something your friends like, and
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Anybody else online have a question? If not, I want to give a big round of applause for Dan for putting this together for us. Well, thank you so much. This is the end of the presentation portion, so we will shut down the Zoom now. I'll post this recording on YouTube as soon as we have it ready. And thank you so much for joining online. Those of us here in the room will enjoy our dinner here, and we'll catch you next time. Anybody who wants to come to the Baltimore group next time we do one in person. Thanks so much, everybody. See you later.
Thanks. Bye.